January 26th, welcome back to Edgework. I'm Zack Phillips, joined here today, Alex B. Smith, So Money Sports. We'll get into all four games for tonight, give out our best bets for those, answer questions from the chat. It's already nice to see Moretto's burners in here early, bright and early, getting in comments, roasting me quickly about goal scorer props that I can or cannot give out. So excited to see that. But before we can get into today's show, recap yesterday's 5-1 day that we had with So Money and Russ. I got to remind people that today's show, as always, is sponsored by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to help you do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book, whether it's for games, futures, or player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. So make sure to download the app today. It is available in iOS, Android, as well as on the web. Now, if you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, you see one pop up on the screen here today that you don't have yet, make sure to check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework. That's betstamp.app/edgework. The link is available in the description of the show as well, so you can head on over there and click on that. But signing up through there helps support us here on this show, so we do appreciate that. So Money, you were a part of yesterday's big day. We flipped the script on what happened with Knish coming on the day before. We had to kind of just erase that from everyone's memory. We go 1-3, and then yesterday we go 5-1, bringing us to 209-5 on the season. That is 423 bets, currently sitting at a 5.9% ROI, and we are up 25 units. Take us inside yesterday's historic Edgework day. Why don't you, So Money?
Yeah, you can always rely on the Thursday crew to stop the bleeding from Wednesday, right? But yeah, it was a good day. I mean, I always say, right, whenever you have a good day, you always have to look at all the luck elements involved, kind of put it in your back pocket, because there are bad days as well. And when you feel that the world is conspiring against you when you're having a bad day, it's nice to pull out a day like that out of your back pocket and take a look at it. But yeah, I thought all the plays, I don't really have an issue with with any of them. Columbus, some luck involved there, but like they were a big dog, right? So like obviously they needed some luck to be able to win that game. But I'm very happy with the reads yesterday. No real issues at all with any of the plays there.
Yeah, and then the only loser yesterday, obviously, was the Bruins Senators. You take the over 6.5 -102. That one finishes 3-2 Bruins overtime. So it is what it is. Outside of that, it's a pretty solid day for us here on the Edgework Show. Cleaning up 5-1 on the day, 65% ROI for yesterday's bets. Hopefully you were here for that. Hopefully you liked the stream. Subscribe to the channel because we'll continue to do more of that here as we close out the rest of the season. Heading into All-Star break here, head to the trade deadline, and then all the way through the playoffs. We'll have a lot more content coming to you guys. You're not going to want to miss any of that. It'll be here on this channel. Alex, we haven't seen you since Monday. How's your week been?
Pretty solid. I had a great Wednesday. That was my big day. I had a correct score for the first period of Kraken Blackhawks 2-1 Seattle at plus 1,200. So when you hit something like that in a week, that's pretty good. Didn't have the best of day yesterday, but it's been so far so good this week. So looking forward to, like I said, 4 games on a Friday. It's nice. Usually it's only going to be 1 or 2, and then once we get past the huge Saturday tomorrow, it's just kind of smooth sailing in the All-Star break. We got just maybe a handful of games left. So it'd be interesting to see what these teams are doing as they're heading into the All-Star break. A lot of teams are getting ready to actually play in Toronto. Have many guys going in the All-Star game, and there's a bunch of teams that are just looking forward to the break and trying to rest and heal. So.
Yeah, and well, nice win there on Wednesday for you. I kind of rode some coattails and was able to get a plus 1,000 on Samsonov shutout, turn around and shove it up that idiot's ass. Joey Knish, who came on here and gave a Winnipeg money line. So Samsonov shutout, Leafs money line, show him. But let's get into tonight's games here. We'll break down each of those. If you've got any questions about the games or any looks that you have in the chat here, you guys can let us know. We'll try to answer some of those as well as giving our own opinions and our best bets on them. I've got a goal scorer prop for tonight. I haven't given one out in a while here, but if you want to get to that goal scorer prop, Ideally, we get to 40 likes on the stream. We've got enough people watching right now to hit that number. So if you're watching and you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button here on today's stream. We do appreciate all the support, but hit that like button. We'll try to give out that goal score prop. But let's first and foremost start with the New York Rangers hosting the Vegas Golden Knights here tonight. The Rangers minus 140, Vegas plus 137, and a total of 6 right now. I got a message this morning. Alber, Rangers good to any number. So money, are you kind of in agreement here? Rangers good to any number, or is that an outlandish statement there?
Coming from Albert, it is an outlandish statement. No, but seriously, it's I think the Rangers are in a good situation here. Vegas is they're still banged up. I was looking at Vegas possibly kind of turning things around a bit, but the last couple of games they've regressed back to the way that they were playing previously. So that that puts me back into a situation with Vegas where I just need to keep watching them and monitor how their numbers are moving forward. They the last couple of games in New Jersey and in Long Island, they are starting to again look a bit leaky defensively. So that's something that is concerning to me. For the Rangers, Rangers are starting to play well defensively. They went through a stretch there where they were giving up tons of chances, but it looks like I mean, albeit it was against Anaheim and San Jose, right? Um, so you have to take that into consideration. But I think these are both teams where at this point, there's a lot to kind of decipher with them. So I'll be passing. I do like the situation for the Rangers, but the injuries for Vegas I think has been accounted for in their line because we're seeing them into the mid 140s and low 150s now even. So I mean, I don't know what else you could make them. So for that reason, I'll pass. But these are both teams that um, I would like to be betting on going forward, but they're not giving me much of a reason right now to get behind them.
Well, I think that this is a pretty good comment here from Jeremy. This is kind of how it's gone for this Edgework team, no matter who's been on so
Okay.
far this year. Doesn't matter what side I choose, Vegas is involved. It feels like, at least for us, Vegas has been that haunting team. We back them, they lose. We fade them, and they beat us. So it's just been
Yeah.
one of those weird ones with this Vegas team all year. Alex, any thoughts for you on this game? Any bets in this one?
Yeah, I'm staying away from a side here in this spot. But for the Rangers, if they're going to win this contest or at least be competitive, they have to get off to an early start. And that's something we've been seeing in a lot of these games. There have been goals early with involving the New York Rangers, 8-3 to the first period over in their last 11 meetings. That's not something you see too often with Vegas. Obviously, they're a team that likes to trend and play a little bit slower to start. But for their last 7 on the road, had gone over. We've seen them kind of had some kind of starts where they've been trending a bit more, getting some more pace in their games a little bit earlier. I just feel like maybe in this spot the Rangers could kind of press them a bit and open this game up. So I like that first period over at this lower price. I see $1.15 at Caesars. You could sprinkle a little now and then add a little bit more, maybe a couple minutes in game and grab a plus price as well. I think we do see some good pace here early back and forth. And like I said, I think this is kind of a bigger game for the Rangers than it is for Vegas. The Rangers just, you look at some of their metrics and numbers, they basically had the same winning percentage as the Hawks and the Sharks over the last month. That is just absolutely brutal for a team that looked like they were going to be kind of cruising toward winning the East at the end of October, if you were to ask a lot of people who their pick was coming out of the Eastern Conference. So Rangers, like I said, yeah, these are two teams that definitely will be bet on teams after the break. But as far as this contest goes, I think we see some pace early, and I like some goals early in the first period.
All right, first period over, minus 115 there. That one is available across multiple different sports books, so don't worry about that. But do make sure that you shop and get the best price out there, as the minus 115 is. But we're seeing minus 120s, minus 130s out there. Don't get those when you can get a minus 115, and use the BetStamp app to help you find those. Use betstamp.app/edgework to help you sign up for those books that have those as well. First period over, 1.5, minus 115 between Vegas and the Rangers. First pick locked in. We will recap all these at the very end of the show, so don't worry if you miss anything, miss any of the games. We'll go over all the picks at the very end, but Next game up on the schedule here, team so money has been trying to get behind a little bit, would be the Pittsburgh Penguins, plus 120, hosting the Panthers tonight. The Panthers coming in minus 125. We see a total of 6 right now, some 6.5s out there on some different books. So money is tonight a night to get behind the Penguins. Is this stay off? What are your thoughts on this game, whether it be the side or the total?
Yeah, it is. It is a night to play the Penguins. I will be on them. The concern for me right now is a market entry. A couple of things here. They are playing back to back. Nedeljkovic is going to get one of the starts. Now, I have no idea how they're going to split it up, right? So they're in the midst of the morning skate right now. So that's what I'm monitoring. Jari and Nedeljkovic look like they're both on the ice. So I have no idea who's gonna start. If you've been watching the show, you know that um, I'm not. I've mentioned this before, where the market reacts to when Nedeljkovic gets to start, and I think it always goes too far. So I'm waiting right now that if Nedeljkovic gets to start, I'm waiting for the money to come against him, and then at that point we will be betting on Pittsburgh. If it is Jari, I'm ready to bet Pittsburgh right now. So we're just we're just waiting on that. They're in the middle of an optional morning skate right now, so unfortunately I can't enter the market right now, but that's something I'm keeping an eye on. Pittsburgh, again, it's a team that I do want to bet on.
Mhm.
They are, yes, they've lost the last couple of two games, the last couple of games, and they are kind of scuffling a bit in terms of my game scores for them. But what I'm more interested in is the pricing on Florida. They um, they went through a good stretch, lost I think it was three or four straight games, and then they've come back and won a couple, right? So now they haven't looked as good in winning the last two games as they did when they strung the bunch of wins together. So what that tells me is that the market is still pricing them as if they were in the midst of that good run. So that's where my edge comes in, because I don't think they're playing as well in getting these last couple of wins as they did when they were playing very well and stringing a bunch of wins together. So I think that we're seeing a high point in the market on Florida. We're seeing a low point in the market on Pittsburgh. That is my edge, and that's what I want to buy into right now. I just can't enter the market because of the Nedeljkovic Jari situation. So um, I'm monitoring it throughout the course of the show. If there is any changes, then I will update that accordingly.
All right, well, if there is, that'll be the perfect opportunity to use that breaking news drop that we haven't got to use
All
in
right.
a little
So
while.
we
So
do have a
money. So,
breaking news now.
oh, there we go. All right. Just
All
like
right.
that.
So Nedeljkovic is the first goalie off the ice. So watch the Florida money come in right now. We will wait for that. Once it hits a high point, then I'll be betting on the Penguins today.
Okay. Well, you let us know when it gets to that some money. We'll come back. We'll revisit it, and then maybe we can lock that in if that number gets to the point where you need it to be at before the end of the show. Now, Alex, are there any thoughts for you on this game? Any way you're getting involved?
Yeah, and it's funny. I would have to wait for a confirmation too. It's something I wouldn't need to necessarily do with this kind of a play. I'm going with the draw here in regulation, but I definitely want to wait because, like I said, now if we see some money moving toward where this number all of a sudden becomes, we're seeing 140, 150 closing with Florida. Now that going to add some value to the draw. We might see that come up to about a 350 to 370 range, as you see on the screen now, anywhere between 325 at Pinnacle to 333 at Caesars. So I'm gonna wait a little bit, but that's what I'm targeting right now, the regulation draw. If you look with as so many was talking about the Florida Panthers, they went on that 8-game win streak. Then they lost 4, and now they've won the last 2. But in those 4 losses, 2 of those went past regulation. So that's the thing right now. You're fighting to get points. If you're losing games and you're losing them in overtime, losing them in a shootout, that's not the worst loss you can have right now because you're just trying to stay above a lot of other teams within your standing. So with that being said, and you look at the meetings too with Florida and Pittsburgh, 3 of the last 7 have gone past regulation. I can see this one being kind of a close contest. Pittsburgh's really got something to play for heading into the break. Florida's been doing fairly well despite having that little 4-game slide. I think it's because a close enough one that weren't betting on the draw.
All right. Well, we're going to be waiting for both of those to come in, confirmations to come in before plays are locked in. So maybe some money will circle back. If that happens, maybe Alex will have an opportunity to enter here as well. But
Yeah.
I said I had a goal scorer. I do. It is in this game here. We're going to head on over to Drew O'Connor at plus 600. You can find that across some of the different MGM books there. If you don't have access to an MGM, I would be fine playing it down to plus 500, but that's the absolute cutoff for me. Below that, I'm personally would not be playing it. I'm going to be playing a half unit on the plus 600. You can find that, especially if you're in Ontario, Sports Interaction, MGM, a bunch of those different books. Down to the plus 500 would be kind of about a quarter unit for me on that. The reasoning behind this is kind of similar to how I played some of the other guys here with different news and information about like Leafs players when I watch them go up to these top 6 roles, and then where they're priced at kind of accordingly to being bottom 6 guys. Drew O'Connor playing alongside of Genny Malkin here, plus 600. He's being priced more according to how many goals he's actually scored so far in the season, not kind of the production that he's had, factoring some of the luck. I think he should probably be priced closer to 450 playing into the second line, 400, 450. We're going to get a 600 here at 500. That's about the extent of where I would play it to. So a half unit there on plus 600 for Drew O'Connor, anytime goal scorer on that second line in the top 6. So we'll take a swing on that one. If this one loses, this is truly on me. Those bullshit -1.5 plays that Jason's putting out there attaching to my name, that's not on me. This one, I'll own it 100%. We'll go with the Drew O'Connor.
Bargain bin quality. That's good. I like it.
Yes. So fire that one off on a Friday. Give the people something extra on top to close out this week. But there you go, Drew O'Connor. And we'll revisit this Pittsburgh, Florida game if it does come within range for some money and for Alex before the end of the show here today. Now, continuing on, we do got 2 more games that we can take looks at and see if there are bets in. And the next one up, we got the Colorado Avalanche hosting the LA Kings. Colorado -145, LA plus 135, and a total of 6.5. Alex, what are your thoughts on this game so far here, and what we're getting with this price? Mute there, Alex. Uh-oh, there we go.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yep.
Everything froze up for a bit. All right. Which one? Where are we on now?
All good. We're on Colorado, LA here.
Okay, yeah. This game's tough for me because you got LA that has looked absolutely abysmal, and they seem like all they want is to just get off of the ice for a few days, and there's probably a team that couldn't benefit more from the break than the LA Kings. But at the same time, you're playing a Colorado team that you should be geared up for. If you've been taking things lightly against some of these other opponents, you got to show up here against a Colorado squad that's not playing exactly their best hockey, kind of bumbling back and forth a little bit. You can catch them at a kind of a softer time, and I think that one of those top teams being heading into the All-Star break, this should be a spot where we could back them. But they've lost 10 of the last 13 meetings against Colorado. I just don't know what to do with this game. If I was getting plus 140, I'd probably be all over LA. But this shorter of a price at between plus 120 to plus 130, I think I'm gonna stay away from this one. Maybe look for something live.
Has so money any interest from you here?
Yeah, it's a tough game here for me because the Kings they've been losing, but their game scores have been great, right? I'm looking through where I've been tracking them, and yeah, they look good in terms of the game scores. Where they're struggling, of course, is, and we've talked about this many times on the show, is their goaltending, right? They're getting it's not even just below average goaltending; it's significantly below average NHL goaltending, right? And even when their 5-on-5 play has been strong, relatively, they're still not. They can't get the wins. Colorado, the last couple of games they played well. They're starting to put up goals, which is kind of what we expected from this. Well, I should say Nathan McKinnon is putting up goals, which is what we were expecting them to kind of break through here. Although they are playing better defensively as well. So I look at this total. That's where I've got some interest in. Where we're into the 6.5s. It's very ugly, but we have to do it up to. We have to play the under 6.5 up to -115. The edge I have here is that I think that if these teams played a couple of weeks ago, there's no way that we touch 6.5 here, right? So what has happened is that you obviously have the Kings goaltending and the Avs going on a bit of a goal scoring streak here. Where I'm looking at the edge here is that the Kings are actually not playing too poorly 5-on-5. They're struggling they're struggling with goaltending. So, and that's one of those things where I can't predict that, right? Colorado's putting up goals, but I am seeing signs of them starting to tighten up defensively. So, if both teams are kind of trending in a direction where I think that they're going to get better defensively, and the only thing holding me back is the variance and like the randomness of goaltending, then I think it's too much of an adjustment. So we'll go ahead. We'll lock in the under 6.5 up to -115 on this game. And it's
So wait, would you wait for a confirmation of goal for Colorado? What if it's Prosvetov and you're talking about Prosvetov, who hasn't looked good going up against either shaky goaltender for LA?
Yeah, and that's a great point, and that would be a concern for me as well. I don't know if he's going to get the start. Yeah, but it's one of those things where like I would rather get my number early and then deal with any goaltending problems, because like I do think that this number is going to move. Um, if I'm right, then it's too much of an adjustment. So regardless, the number is going to move, and I'd rather get on that. And if I don't get the goaltender I want for Colorado, then yeah, I'm sitting on a bad number. But I'd rather take that chance at this point in this game.
All right, the under 6.5 -110. We locked that in here in this game between the Avalanche and the LA Kings. And I see some comments in the chat. We can't get into this, Alex and So Money. We can't get into the Pierre-Luc Dubois discussion because the last time we did, a clip ended up online and we got tagged for hours in a thread going back and forth about Pierre-Luc Dubois. So
it was a great
I don't
discussion.
know if we can. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying the notifications we got for hours were crazy.
So guys, what do we think about Pierre-Luc Dubois?
All right. Reality is the Winnipeg Jets won that trade by a landslide. Landslide, not even close.
He's such a polarizing player, right?
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. You know what his attitude would fit in well with? Here in Toronto. They just don't care. They just don't care. That's all it is. That's what it comes down to. All right, final game of the night here. We'll break down and give out best bets in if we've got any. Would be the Seattle Kraken hosting St. Louis Blues. Seattle -165, St. Louis +154, and a total of 6 right now. So, Money, what are your thoughts here on this side and total?
St. Louis is a very interesting team to me, and it's a team that was brought into my radar from my buddy Ron, who talk to regularly. He's a regular listener of the show, watcher of the show. So thank you for your support, Ron. Blues were brought to my attention because the way that we kind of look at this team is that you look at the bottom of the Western Conference, right? In terms of the wild card, you don't know where you don't know if the Kings are going to get it right? Like I would assume that the Kings get that first wild card at this point. I think that it looks fairly certain that they will get that wild card, even with their poor goaltending. But you can never know, right? They may just fall off, and like it happens in hockey sometimes, right? But you look at that second wild card, right? You look at teams like highly flawed teams, in my opinion, with Nashville, Calgary, Minnesota, Arizona, whatever. There's like six to eight teams there for like that last for that final wild card. My question is, why not the Blues, right? So if they're getting the goaltending that Binnington has shown, not just in the past, right? But like we know about his playoff run, but like just but just even this year, right? Like we've seen we've seen signs of him starting to turn his game around. We've seen some really good, strong games from him. Why not the Blues, right? Like you look at their like playoff odds, and so the Blues were a team that was brought to my attention, and I saw them firsthand. And um, even though they did not deserve to win that game against the Canucks, um, they played like a Blues team um, we that we've seen the last couple of years around their playoff run, right? So that's a team that I find very interesting. I think that you look at Seattle taking money right now as we speak, and it's just it's just way far gone here. So I can't justify this price on Seattle. There is some stubbornness there with me on Seattle. I concede that, but I'll be on the Blues here. We'll make it a half unit bet. Um, we're into the mid 150s now, right? Or can we get a
Yeah.
little bit better? Yeah. So mid 150s. I'll be betting that just now as well. So getting in on the Blues.
All right, half unit Blues plus 154 there, best price available. Alex, where do you come in on this game tonight?
I don't have anything on this game as of right now, but I'm not as sold on the Blues as so many is. Yes, we've been seeing some really good goaltending from Jordan Bennington. He's kind of made an emergence, and he's started to look like that goaltender that we saw in 2019 make that kind of a run. But how long can you sustain that? And can you get at least a little bit better than average goaltending from Joel Hofer down the stretch? He looked good early, and now he's been kind of shaky in the last few starts. He's a guy who's going to have to really come through, and maybe even if we getting good Bennington goaltending, right? Let's say he gives you some, he gives you another 10, 15 quality starts in the second half of the season. But you're going to need Hofer to kind of spell him down the stretch so he can be fresh enough to get into the playoffs. And you're talking about a really tight wild card race that the Blues are going to be in. I think they end up falling out of that maybe closer to March and April. They'll be more of a selling team and the team out of the race. So that being said, I wouldn't be shocked to see Seattle kind of win this one. They had a big win against the Hawks to break that 4-game losing streak. So I'm sure they would like to go into the break kind of carrying that momentum. So maybe a lean toward the team total over with Seattle. I could see goals being in this game too. So I haven't played anything officially yet. I want to wait for some confirmations in net too. So this is a game that I probably tweet it out later. So follow me on AX Sports. I'll have something on it, but passing for now.
All right, nothing there. Now, as we wait, I'm going to try to give an opportunity for both of you guys for more money potentially to come in this Pittsburgh, Florida game to see if we can get a best bet. So I'll get a little bit more out of you here before we go and close off this show for the week. Alex, are there any games that you're looking ahead to this weekend, whether it be for betting on things that you're waiting to fade teams, get behind teams, or if it's just sitting down and watching games that you're looking forward to for this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, well, being a Hawks fan, I do still watch all the games, begrudgingly sometimes, or sometimes you make a bunch of money fading them. And that might be the case where they're playing against Calgary tomorrow. I think this could be one of those games where the Flames, I mean, this team's just an absolute disaster. And I feel like they need to play another bad team to kind of get things in rhythm. So to maybe, head into the break potentially with a good win against Chicago. I can see where the Flames might put up some big goals. So I'm looking at their team total over tomorrow against Chicago.
And so, money, any games on your docket that you're looking at?
Yeah, the Canucks game. Right? It's
yeah, shocker.
Yeah, but so this is similar to that situation against the Sharks last time they were heading into a break. Like Tocchet called out the team. He called out Pedersen for and I really liked how we handled it. Right, like yes, Pedersen was cross-checked in front of the net, but there was things happening on that shift that I don't know what he was doing. Right, so you could point to that cross-check and kind of focus on that, or you can look at he wasn't handling the puck well on like before on that shift. So Tocchet kind of called them out. I really like that. The Canucks did deserve to win that game, but there were some bad habits that kind of creeped in. So this is another one of those tests for a team that I do feel is a contender, but they're not a top tier contender yet because they haven't passed all these kind of little tests for me yet, right? And like one of those tests is that going into the break against a team that you should beat after after kind of playing a game that you probably should have won. Let's see if you can if if you can take care of it at home, right? Against a Columbus team that yeah, they are trying to play well, and they beat the Canucks. They um deservingly so on the end of the road trip that the Canucks had. So I'm looking forward to that. The Toronto Winnipeg game is another one that I've got circled. Not just because I thought that Toronto was fortunate to win that last game after the Winnipeg injury situation, um, as well as just I just thought that Toronto should have taken care of that game a lot easier than they did. So I was a
Mhm.
little concerned with, even though we got the win, I was concerned with the way that Toronto came out and the way that they handled that game. So that's another game that I got circled as well.
Yeah, and by the way, when it comes to talking and handling these players, I think that that's incredible to have that happen.
Yeah,
Like when you have a coach holding players accountable like that, star players accountable like that, it sends a message to everyone and kind of says like, this is the standard, this is what you have to do, this is how you have to play. We're not going to be okay with this level, and we're not going to be okay with this drop off. Like, we expect you to be showing up every night. And the thing is that when you look at a guy like that, he did it for his whole career. That's how Rick Tocchet was. So you can look at a body of work that he exemplified throughout his time in the league. And then not only that, but by the way, you've got other players there like JT Miller who are going to exemplify like the effort or the character, whatever, the work ethic on a nightly basis as well, that you can kind of turn and look to and be like, here's another guy as well. This is what you should be doing. There's a guy here right now doing this too. So I think that that's great to see.
it it takes me. I was thinking about the Canucks the other day, like as I'm apt to do a lot. Um, and I was just thinking about like previous eras, right? So where they've had significant top end talent, right? So there's no question that this team right now has very good top end talent, right? And then you look back at those teams in the late '90s, right, where you had like Mogilny and Bure and Messier was brought in, very good top end talent, um, but they never got it together, right? And like one of the reasons was that there was a country club atmosphere in the dressing room, right? And like it's not just talent, like it's like massaging the talent, right? And like you need strong leadership to kind of pull everyone together, and that's what we have on this Canucks team right now. Everybody has bought into Tocchet, right? He's got presence, and
Yep.
he absolutely demands respect, right? Um, on Florida money's coming in right now. I see that. So let's see. Let's see how long I can talk about the Canucks for. No, but I mean, it's just I was just thinking about that, and just one of those things where like both of those eras had top end talent, and it was very easy. Um, Even last year, as much as I loved Bruce Boudreau, like there was no accountability on like the top end guys, like how there is right now. So it could have easily gone the way of those late '90s teams, but I'm glad that Tocchet is kind of pulling it together here.
All right, well, I'll give you another couple minutes to maybe see if more money can come in, because we do have a question in the chat. And by the way, Jordan Moso bringing up there. We know what to do tomorrow. Hawks, Sharks, money
Yeah,
line.
Oh, God.
The Sharks are hot. So take a look at those ones. But Luke asking here, would love to hear an opinion on Kings plus 1,000 right now to win the Western Conference. While we wait for this money and see how far we can get this Pittsburgh line to go. Just if you guys want to weigh in on this, Alex, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a bad ticket to grab right now, considering their current form. If they don't go out and get a goaltender, and they're just gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna stick with David Riddick and Cam Talbot," who yes was looking like an all-star for about 2.5 months, and now has kind of regressed to his regular form we've seen over the last 5 years. Then I'm not confident in this team making the playoffs, to be honest. We're talking about, especially if you're talking about if St. Louis were to find their emergence in there in that log jam with now Nashville, if Calgary could make a little bit of a jump back in, and then of course we're talking about Seattle in the mix. Edmonton's now firmly back in the mix. Vegas and Vancouver. So where's the extra spot? The Kings could be completely out of the playoffs. So to win the West, I wouldn't be looking at that at all right now.
So,
Yeah,
any thoughts on the price?
I agree with Alex. I think that if you told me that that right now they acquired a goaltender and they've fixed their issues in goal, then yeah, I would take the 10-1. But we don't have that right now. So and I don't know if they're going to be able to address it. So even at a 10-1, without them addressing their goaltending, I can't get there right now.
The question that everybody needs to ask themselves when they're looking at a future, especially you're talking about specifically to win the conference, East or West, is does this team have a goaltender that can steal an entire series or at least 2 to 3 games? If the answer is no, don't bet it.
All right. Well, there you have it. As far as today goes for today's best bets, so money, I don't know if this number's gotten there for you quite yet. I haven't really seen any movement, enough movement that is on the screen. So we'll wrap it up there, recap the best bets for today's show. We went through all 4 games, touched on some Canucks, of course, touched on some Kings futures as well. Give out a goal scorer prop. To recap all of this, to see all the bets that we give out throughout the course of the show on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, you want to see how we've done throughout this season. You want to see how we've done over the last season into this one. You can find that all in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section. But to recap today's show, to recap today's best bets, we are currently looking at these four picks here. We're looking at the Vegas Golden Knights and New York Rangers. First period over 1.5, minus 115, full unit on that one. We're going to go to the Panthers-Penguins game. Drew O'Connor, anytime goal scorer, plus 600 for a half unit there. The LA Kings, Colorado Avalanche, under 6.5, minus 110, full unit on that. And then finally, the St. Louis Blues money line, plus 154 for a half unit there. Let's go and sweep the board here tonight. 4-0 night for the Friday crew. Let's go into the weekend strong. If you are looking for more picks here this weekend, you want to see what else the Edgework team is on from everyone across the show, Monday through Friday for tomorrow's games, you can find us over on Twitter as Edgework HQ. See what picks we have. They'll come out before the games kick off tomorrow, so you can see what bets we are looking at. We'll have one from each creator for anybody who's willing to give out picks on Saturday mornings there. You can find them. They'll also be tracked in BetStamp, so don't worry about that. Look forward to seeing everyone back here on Monday as well. If you have more questions, you have anything like that, come back to the show on Monday. Comment. We'll try to answer them throughout the course of that show. Thanks to everyone who tuned in here today. We appreciate the support. Make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. So Money, Alex, thank you guys for showing up and doing this here today as always. Look forward to seeing you guys back here on Monday as well. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck on your bets.